Hey everybody, welcome to the Power Hour of Love. I'm Charboil and this is...
El Bandito.
So how's it going, El Bandito?
Oh, man, I'm doing awesome tonight, senor. You know, we're having a super awesome time. You guys can tell, man, maybe from out there in TV land, man, like, we are so dark and burnt up. We are enjoying our spring break. We spent the last 2 days outside hanging out, partying up, and enjoying this Florida sun because there has been a gorgeous and beautiful cold front across the entire United States, which makes it like 71 outside for us like every day, and it's fantastic. So thank you all you beautiful people out there for joining us tonight. We are super pumped. We were out goofing around and horsing around all day, and we just got back to the studio like 15 minutes before we were going to go on the air. So we're like, waka pata, man. We are freaking psyched. Thank you to all you beautiful people that joined already, man. I see some people, man, you guys tuned in before we even hit the live button. It was freaking great.
Oh, yeah, we love that, man. And, as always, if you guys can go ahead and hit that share button, share it with all your friends, man. They're going to love it too. And, man, I got to say, I love, man, that, even though I wasn't able to be here last week, you and Kelly Jade held down the fort. It was my birthday. I was out of the state on a little trip, man, enjoying myself. But, man, you guys did an awesome job talking about the mighty Thor.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, Kelly Jade was so awesome. Thank you so much again for coming in studio. I know we got tons of people who commented on how much they enjoyed how much better looking Charboil's station was that day.
Well, it's one of those things where, like you said, when you're out all day, hanging out in the sun and having a great time, you only got a few minutes to freshen up. Plus, not to mention now, they got all this whole thing going on with the daylight savings time.
Yeah.
That's definitely caught us off guard. We're on the way back to the studio, and I'm like, look, man, it's almost still light out. What are we doing? We're early.
Plenty of time.
And he was like, no, we're technically like late.
Yeah. I was like, there's a lot of computer stuff we have to do in like minutes. This is crazy. But we did go ahead and we wanted to publish tonight a new poll. Like, I did put up the Infinity War countdown, our countdown to Infinity War poll. So you can go to the poll and every single day vote for your favorite Avenger. It can be a different Avenger every time. It can be the same Avenger every time, and it will count your vote over and over and over again. So feel free to head over to our page. We've pinned it to the top of our Facebook page, so it's easy for you guys to find. But we just added underneath something that was a great idea. We kind of were talking to a buddy of ours, Jason Y, out there, man. Thank you so much for joining the show and checking us out and everything. And thanks for this awesome idea, because he was saying, he was like, we love the countdown that you guys do, but those are really like the pro heroes out there. Those are like the paid to play heroes. And he's like, they got a big thing with March Madness and the NCAA, which is the college level basketball games. And the bracket for March Madness is kind of a big deal. So we thought to ourselves, and he kind of came up with this thought process too of like, you guys need to do a bracket for the not pro heroes, the ones that don't get all the publicity like the Avengers and the Justice League do all the time. And we thought to ourselves, well, you know what? There are a bunch of unsung heroes out there on TV right now, the Defenders and the awesome and incredible Arrowverse that DC's put together. And we thought, in lieu of, or in the midst of all of this exciting Avengers action and coming off of the high Justice League last year, we thought we would take March and really help support these guys and have a little bit of fun by pitting them all against each other. So the poll is up right now on our page. It should be right below the, countdown to Infinity War. And you can go there and choose between each of the heroes in the initial bracket. Yes. And then whoever wins, they have to battle the next two people until in the last week of the month, we have a victorious winner. So we could end up with DC heroes fighting DC heroes, or Marvel heroes fighting Marvel heroes, But for anyone out there who's not super familiar with every single show, because you were talking dozens of hours now of television entertainment out there. If you haven't had a chance to catch all of it, we're going to dedicate tonight to talking about each and every one of the duos and face-offs that we've put in our initial week here. And we're going to talk to you about who we think would win, what kind of standards you may have to decide on who you think is best, and everything like that. So we're going to have some fun basically running through the Defenders and the Arrowverse. Yes. But also, too, big shout out, International Women's Day, Jessica Jones dropped. Great freaking season. Absolutely loved it. Kelly Jade made me stay up for 24 hours and watch the entire thing. And when it was all said and done, I'm like, thank you. That was epic. And I loved checking that out. But debuting on International Women's Day and having so many powerful women in the series was just great. I loved seeing that. I hope everyone kind of takes note on what an awesome achievement that was. So definitely going to have some fun, talking a little bit about that, spoiler-free, once we get to her face-off later tonight.
And absolutely, man. Like you said, like with these Netflix shows and stuff like that, I mean, last year, we got like The Punisher and The Defenders, and it's like, it's just cool that like while the movies and stuff keep coming out, man, like you said, the Netflix area too are just, they're pumping out their shows. And like you said, from the DC end of things, you got the weekly CW Arrowverse shows, which just continue to develop and like bring in new characters and villains and stuff. So it's really cool.
Yeah, and it has gotten so good. Like, we'll get into it when we break into each person, but I know I'm not 100% caught up on everything in the Arrowverse.
Sure.
So
Same thing. No spoilers.
We'll probably be a little spoiler free on that, but everything in past seasons is fair game. So hopefully all you guys have had some experience with a little bit of this, or if not, maybe we'll entice you to really be like, oh man, I got to check that show out.
Sure.
So why don't we just jump right into it and jump right into our first face-off?
Let's
How do you
do
think
it.
that sounds?
Let's do
all
it.
right,
Let's
cool.
rock and roll.
So let's see. Let's drop the banner here. And
not the Bruce banner.
No, and of course we're giving some love to some of our, heroes here. That
absolutely. And like we said, we wanted to kind of keep it where it wasn't so like, like we didn't want to throw Spider-Man or Batman in here because that'd be kind of like a given. They're almost on every list and stuff. We're going to shine some light, like you said, on the unsung. So
and it's kind of, Flash is in the Justice League, but he's so very different from the show, and what the show does is such an achievement in its own that it's like completely separate from the movie stuff. So we figured he'd be okay. We gave him a pass. So.
Absolutely, man. So here we go. This is an awesome graphic, man. Yeah, as you can see, it showcases the DC side and then also the Marvel, specifically the Defenders. But it's cool because like the Arrowverse, while the Defenders, they're a team. The Arrowverse, like we said, just has so many different heroes. Like I said, Green Arrow, Supergirl,
Black Lightning. Yeah, he's technically not in the Arrow universe, but it's like the multiverse thing. Just like Supergirl's not really in the same Earth with Flash. So we were like, we're definitely gonna include Black Lightning in this. Legends of Tomorrow, of course. Legends of Tomorrow's freaking great. But yeah, the Defenders being all on Netflix, like there is kind of immediately that sort of. Okay, I do think that like the opening sequence of Daredevil costs more than like a whole episode of the Arrow, So that we're not going to pit it up in that sense of like what's a better show. We want to talk about the storylines in the show, and what the characters do, what they represent, and everything like that. So let's jump right into our first face-off. And our first face-off, I thought, should start off in kind of a fun way. So we're going to pit the very first member of the Arrowverse with the very last member of the Defenders.
Oh.
So that's right. The boys in green, we're talking the Green Arrow himself versus Danny Rand, the Immortal Iron Fist.
Oh, man. Well, it's funny because, now Arrow's been on for, 6 seasons, you know? So it's been around for a while, and it, you're right. It was the original, for the CW,
yes.
They didn't really, it was a very kind of darker, serious show when it first came on, and then they introduced the Flash and stuff, and I think it's lightened up a bit. But Ollie Queen has definitely gotten a lot of showcase time knowing that. It's usually 24 episodes, so I mean you're looking at 24 hours per season, so you've really gotten to know him as a character. But why don't you tell us a little bit about Danny Rand?
Well, Danny Rand, the Immortal Iron Fist, man, he had such an amazing and wild story in his Netflix adventure because he shares so many similarities with the Green Arrow in that they're both kind of separated from society.
Yes.
The Green Arrow ends up on a deserted island.
A desert island. I think
no,
we'd like to end up on
it's not a desert. I want to be on a dessert island. I have one of those big cookie things like we had at Applebee's the other day or whatever. That was great. But and then Danny Rand ends up trapped in a kind of Chinese village that is in a pocket dimension.
Yes.
And he gets stuck there and he learns kind of this chakra type supernatural
chi,
chi ability,
your inner abilities,
and
stuff.
very similar to magic. I mean,
Yes.
he's magical. His fists are unbreakable, and when he summons the Iron Fist, like he can punch bullets in half and stuff.
Even hit characters that are usually not damaged by other things. So yeah, absolutely. Very powerful
And then,
character.
but of course, too, like now he's grown up in this monk village, so he has all this super expert martial arts training, very similar to how the Green Arrow ends up training with kind of the League of Shadows and stuff like that, and ends up with like Batman level ass kicking of his own. So, but both of them are still basically normal human guys.
Yes.
Kind of have a leg up in one sense, and use that to fight for good. Both of them are like billionaires who got lost, and then they come back and they're still billionaires and they have a ton of money. So they actually have a super ton in common. And we just thought that was a really interesting parallel between the two characters, and that they both ended up kind of being mostly represented by green.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, even the look. I mean, when you look at like Danny. I mean, I know traditionally, like he wore like a mask, right? Like a thing over his
he wore like a head wrap.
Yeah.
And it covered his eyes, so it very much was like a mask and a do-rag kind of put together.
Yeah,
then I liked how he had like a almost like a kimono / button-down shirt.
Yeah.
And it was like open,
Yeah.
and he had the Iron Fist tattoo there.
Yeah.
But it was very 70s, where it was just showing his chest all the time.
Well, like we said, and what's cool is we keep saying, Netflix, go check out the Defenders. I mean, all the earlier seasons of like Arrow and the Arrowverse shows are also on Netflix, so you can kind of binge watch all of these.
Yes.
But like you said, like early on, with Oliver Queen, like he didn't, at least in the show, he didn't initially go by like Green Arrow moniker. He kind of had a few other things that he went through before developing that persona. So who knows, maybe even with like Iron Fist, it might be the same thing where eventually he might get that at least a little mask piece.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of parts in the show that allude to the fact that he isn't really full Iron Fist yet. And he may get there and his power may build. Very much like at the beginning of Arrow, like they just called him Arrow. He was just kind of a vigilante. He did his own thing. He wasn't really fighting crime.
The Hood.
But, the Hood. That's right. They called him the Hood. But he kind of grew into the character. So, yeah, what do you guys think down in the comments, man? Throw us some comments of what you think of both Iron Fist and Green Arrow. Tag some of your friends and stuff that like these shows. Let's get a bunch of people in here chatting about it, man. That'll be fun. But, yes, Party Man Will down there says chicks flock to the musk of a chest bush. They love it, and he would certainly know all about that.
I was gonna say he's iron chest. That's
I'm sure he's rocking that for spring break out there right now.
Yes,
but yeah, so
he has a tattoo as well. He's got the Halo tattoo. There you go. Maybe we should have put Party Man Will versus.
I think we should just from now on we should call him the immortal Party Man Will.
There you go. Oh, it's getting a lot of likes in there. So definitely, we might just have to work that in there. But yeah, you guys let us know, who you think would go. And at the same time, like you said, you guys can go vote on in the poll. And, that doesn't have to be immediately. We're going to do it when it's going to be up there for...
That poll's going to be up all week. And then next Monday, right before we do the show again, we'll update the brackets. All the winners will be chosen that day. And then, we'll close out the poll.
Yeah.
So, actually, I think I may have set the poll for 24 hours, but I'll fix that before 24 hours goes by, so we can keep voting until next week. And then next week, the bracket will dwindle down. You'll get the next pairs of winners matched off, and then you vote again for that following week.
Oh, I see KDD in there. She's saying Arrow all the way. And it's real funny because, I mean, I think Iron Fist gets a lot of hate, know? And I mean, while I think it's probably one of the weaker of the Marvel shows, like it's just, I don't think the character himself, like you said, he's not fully developed yet.
Yeah. And I guess we kind of have to talk a little bit about the shows in that sense, you know. But the thing with the Arrow, what makes the show The Arrow really great to me is that there's almost two shows in one. Where he returns from being stuck on a desert island after 5 years. And he's remembering a lot of these flashbacks of like life lessons that he's coming up again in the show now. Yes. So there's always a present day story and there's always a flashback story where you're learning how he got his abilities, where he learned the different things that he knew. So you're kind of getting two stories in one. and they didn't bore us at the very beginning of the show with a lot of long-winded explanation of where the guy came from. And unfortunately, Iron Fist kind of did exactly that. They made it very boring, and you didn't know where he was from, and you never really felt like anything got revealed. It was just so slow and tedious, everything that was introduced. Like the character is so much better than kind of that first outing, and I think in the Defenders he ended up being a lot better because they were like, dude, you're the Iron Fist, just go punch people, and you're like, yeah, that's
A quick trivia tip, if you guys are X-Men fans, the character Sabretooth actually first appeared in a comic of Iron Fist.
Oh, cool.
So just a little thing out there. People are like, you know what, I don't really know a lot about this guy, even from the comics. Like, there's major characters that have gone on that were adversaries of Iron Fist. Not to say that they're going to re-emulate, but who knows, they could now with this whole Disney owning everything kind of deal. You just never know what you're going to get.
No doubt, man. Yeah, they're going to have a little bit of everything everywhere. But, okay, let's break it down into us and what we think. So what do you think, in your opinion, what is the sort of determining factors for you that make you weigh your decision on, and who do you pick in this bracket?
Well, to start it off, I think I would go with the Green Arrow.
Okay.
Based on his skills, I know Danny's been trained, by these monks and stuff, but it's almost like
he's magic,
and he's got the magic, yeah. But I'm saying that it's like at the same time he has to get his hands on Oliver, and sometimes like just with all the trick arrows and stuff like that.
Well, who's the immortal magic guy that like Arrow totally takes out in the fourth season?
Damien Dark?
Yes, Damien Dark. Yes. So you're like, yeah, if you want to talk about a guy that's like hundreds of years old and like knows magic, and Arrow's like, drop that dude.
And definitely you're right. I was even thinking about that Damien Dark aspect because I'm like, if Iron Fist actually hit, Green Arrow, there'd be trouble, But if he can't even get a hit in or something, then I would, like I said, I would still say, like you said, that definitely swayed it all the way that I would say, yeah, I think Green Arrow would take this. What do you think?
All right. In my opinion, right, I think that Iron Fist still has a lot of growing to do. Mm-hmm. Like, he came out of, is it like Loon Cow or something?
Loon Cow. I think.
Something like that. He came back from the pocket dimension he was in, and he came as the Iron Fist.
Lian Yu?
No, that's the place from Arrow. Yeah.
Sorry, man.
That's okay, man. They're kind of the same, so that's the whole point of the thing. But no, so when he came back, he knew what it was like to live in this monk culture, but he kind of doesn't know what it's like to live in the real world. And he kind of very much seems like an 18-year-old kid who never really had a chance to live in society and know how to talk to people and everything like that. And Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow, he left an 18-year-old pompous jerk and came back like a badass.
Yes.
Who was like a man who was going to take care of business and who was like, yeah, I know my limitations and what I'm comfortable with and what I'm doing. And then the story's being told in reverse where we learn how he went from being kind of the punk he was into the Arrow, but while we're watching him go from being the Arrow to the Green Arrow.
Yes.
So just the way the story is told just has portrayed so much of the character that at this point, so much of the growth over what was decades in comics, like at this point, I definitely think that Arrow has the leg up on the Iron Fist, right?
Sure.
But like you said, physically fighting, man, okay, I think Iron Fist would totally martial arts the crap out of Arrow and totally wreck him. But you have to look at that Damien Dark factor. You have to look at the people that Arrow has survived and walked away from. Yeah. And you have to ask yourself, would Danny Rand ever want to kill Arrow?
Oh, sure.
So if he doesn't, Arrow wins.
Exactly. Being that these are heroes and stuff, I don't want to say they'd have to be fight to the deaths, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
In those cases that, like I said, if Iron Fist hit him hard enough,
he's toast.
He's dead. Which I mean, like I said, not to throw out all the spoilers of Arrow, but there's even been cases where Oliver may have survived those situations.
Yeah, gravest wounds and stuff like that. Absolutely. But again, if I had to pick. If I'm making the vote for who's going to move on in my bracket, who's my favorite between the two heroes, oh, man, I know it hurts me on the inside, but I'm gonna go with Arrow.
Oh, cool,
You
man.
know, and I hate to turn my back on my Marvel homeboys out there, but yeah, what they've done with that character has really taken it to another level. And I think Iron Fist can catch up, but I think he's in the point right now where he needs to catch up.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, you're talking about a first season compared to someone that thinks have been around for 6. So,
yes.
But yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, that was pretty cool. So yeah, we really look forward to seeing what you guys think. And like we said, definitely go out there and vote. But hey, we got more guys to talk about, right? Who
Absolutely.
else is on the list?
Yeah, let's jump into our second bracket right now. I know a lot of people are going to be stoked about this.
Oh yeah.
All right. We're looking at Supergirl versus Jessica Jones.
Oh man, you're talking about, the Girl of Steel versus like the Girl of Steel gut. Yeah, absolutely, man. What a matchup this is.
It absolutely is, because not only does it speak to two powerful women, two very strong characters who are just awesome in every respect that a woman could be, but they're also almost completely different characters.
Oh, so different.
Supergirl is such that wholesome, like she's very much the Superman, the Christopher Reeve Superman, that wholesome, good person. She's almost naive in her like, oh, but everything will be great, and we got to stop them and show them the right way. And Jessica Jones is like, I live in a world of shit, I try to clean up the scum around me because it stinks.
Exactly. Like you said, like, while Kara / Supergirl has that cuteness kind of like, like naiveness to it. Like you said, Jessica's, while very attractive and has that rough around the edges kind of like you said, PTSD style kind of going, but yeah, very, very, very wild mashup here.
Oh, Party Man Will, dude, you're killing it tonight down there in the comments. He goes, being hit by a bag of dicks is not a Kryptonian weakness.
Party Man Will. He's like my brother. I just to say real quick, that was one thing when I never really read Jessica Jones in the comics, so when I did watch the first show, I was kind of like,
you didn't realize how like adult mature content that comic was.
She has a real like crassness to her, and I was just like, damn, this is like, this is before they put out Punisher and stuff like that. So,
but that's an actual line from the show.
Yes.
She tells someone to like eat a bag of dicks or something.
I know,
like that's great.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
When you learn more about the character and the amount of stress and trauma that she's been through, it kind of makes you understand why she is the way she is.
Yes.
And being that the new season just came out, don't want to throw out too many spoilers and stuff, but I really like how we were seeing her grow too, like after, because she was in the Defenders, now we're seeing how she handles situations now opposed to how maybe she would handle situations in season 1. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And that again is one of the things I loved about the second season was it really does show such a progression of her character that in the first season she was very much in this dark, depressing hole, because kind of all this bad stuff had happened with no resolution for her. And the fact that by the end of that first season, she did kind of resolve some issues. You can see how she's trying to just lead a better life, do a little something better. And I wouldn't say she's trying very hard. Like, there's still a lot of rough edges there. But it's almost like her world, her universe is just a little bit brighter. It's a little bit more hopeful. And I really love that.
I know there was a scene that you and I talked about that I was like, dude, that like... I was expecting something different. Like I said, just because it's a really funny kind of moment, I don't want to spoil it for you guys. Yeah. But like you do see that where you're like,
where you think she's gonna fly off the handle, and instead just is totally cool about a situation. That you thought she would.
Definitely not of how she would have handled it in season 1. Oh, real quick, not to break away. DC Eric has joined the party, man. How you doing? Oh, not the party, man, but he's joined the party here with us at the Power Hour. Man, if you didn't catch the beginning of the show, we're doing a big March Madness style thing with the Defenders and the Arrowverse, man. We know you know a bunch of stuff about the Arrowverse, so be sure to throw some stuff in the comments. Be sure to go out there and vote. But right now we're talking about Kara Supergirl versus the Defenders Jessica Jones. So,
Absolutely. And DC Eric, if you catch us missing anything out there, feel free to post it in the comments so we don't forget anything.
I know Party Man Will is watching us very closely too. And I didn't see him commenting anything on Arrow, and then like suddenly he threw in that little comment about the Jessica Jones thing. I was like, okay, he's still there.
Who knew he was such a Jessica Jones fan, huh? Oh. But yeah, man, Supergirl is also a great show. And I have to say, I love the lightness to it. It reminds me of the old Superman films and stuff. So when I get to watch that show, that reminiscence of it is great, but also the identity of, Kara Danvers as opposed to Clark Kent is very fascinating. Like, she has a very interesting life. And I think her character, while it's kind of that almost everyone hopes to be that kind of live in a great apartment, have a great job, never worry about anything. Like, everyone tries to want that life. Everyone tries to live that life. And no one kind of wakes up and is like, boy, I hope I live in a dumpy cesspool apartment and have to drink my pain away today, that Jessica Jones has to deal with. So, again, they're totally opposite like that. But both of them are fascinating in their own right because they have challenges that are completely unique and different. Like, neither one ever ends up in the same scenario. It's not like The Simpsons and The Family Guy where they're constantly kind of doing the same episodes.
Oh, yeah.
But instead, because of their lifestyles and because of what goes on in their lives, they have completely different stories. And I think that's a strength for each character and a weakness for neither.
Well, I think in like you said, with Supergirl, I think what's really cool about that show is, like, for some reason, DC's... Well, I shouldn't say not for some reason. We know they want to make movies and stuff like that have, like, Batman and Superman and stuff. But it's cool that, like, on this TV show, just like with Arrow, they can kind of bring in some of the Superman villains that you may never see in a movie.
Yeah. Your like Metallo or
the Clock King.
Yeah.
I know. There's like, but yeah, Metallo definitely for. I know there was the. I know Party Man Will told me about, like, where Kara gets like a disease or something that only like Kryptonians. And he said, man, it was so cool because it was like
Don't they actually have that? What is it? It's like the Black Lotus plant or something.
Yes.
What do they call that? DC Eric, come on, help me out. And who did we forget? We forgot someone for this show.
Well, we haven't gone through everyone. Yeah. Oh, maybe he's looked at our list. Tell us who we, like I said, who you think. Like I said, we don't know if you caught the beginning of the show, but we tried to keep it not the mainstream guys. If you're like, oh, where's Superman or where's Batman? I know that's probably what DC Eric saying. Those characters are always thrown out there so much. And while we were like, oh, cool, it's like. We wanted to make this. Yeah,
it's like March Madness, for the college teams, the not pros,
Yeah.
But the Black Mercy, Party Man will beat you to it, DC Eric. You guys are having your own March Madness. Party Man will just win up a bracket. Sorry, bro. But, okay, so again, Supergirl is very lighthearted stuff. She, has a sister and a family and all this stuff in the show. The Martian Manhunter hangs out in the show. There's lots of supporting castmates and supporting characters. And Jessica Jones, she's got Luke Cage in her series, in her season 1, which is fantastic, and I love that he's there, and it kind of springboards him into his own show later.
Very cool.
But ultimately, it's not a very, like, happy thing for her, in that first initial meeting. Like, it's a dark and weird kind of way that they meet, and it's sad, and again, just so very different. That it's almost apples and oranges with these two characters, And
I know we talk about this, and I know this is as important to you as it is to me, but, like, I love that, like, Supergirl, like, has such a variety of villains. Like, it's like every week they're throwing somebody else new, even if it's just some random, guy from the time. Like, but where Jessica Jones, while she might, fight, little guys here and there was like one central villain. I mean, expertly done in season 1. I mean, I thought it was a David Tennant.
Yes.
And I mean, like I said, I haven't gotten that far in season 2 yet, so no spoilers for me either. But if he happens,
that's an excellent point. That all of the Arrowverse is very almost like villain of the week. Like they always have different people from the comics. It has a real kind of fanboy luster to it in that sense that you'll get to see a lot of people on screen that you wouldn't otherwise ever get to see. But by the same token, that kind of slow roll that all the Netflix shows do gives you so much depth of character for everyone that shows up on screen.
Oh, absolutely.
Like even with Trish Walker, you know, and everything that it's leading up to. And I really think Kelly Jade doesn't know where that's going.
Oh, okay.
But I do from the comics.
Yes.
So I never say anything to her, but I'm always kind of like, hey, look what's going on here.
Yep,
You know, so it's kind of fun.
She's like, I've got a personal trainer. It's like,
yeah, I bet you do.
Okay, you know.
DC Eric said that the someone we forgot was him. He should have been here with the show with us.
It's funny, DC Eric, that you mentioned.
Yeah.
I know we've said that a few times that we got to get you in here, and we know Aquaman is. I don't know if it's coming out later this year, or I'm sure there's some DC stuff coming out soon that we could definitely round you in with. But it's like I said, we were on spring break, kind of partying a little bit, kind of like, hey, yeah, we'll do a March Madness thing, kind of deal. But yeah, man, we're glad you're here in the comments with us, man. It's really cool to kind of have another DC opinion.
Yeah,
it's
easy to find Marvel fans, bro. It's not easy to find DC. We know they're out there because they're killing the ratings, but apparently they don't like podcasts that much. Silver Banshee and Livewire were both awesome villains who showed up in the DC universe. Party Man Will just threw that out there. I loved Livewire. Remember she was in Supergirl, and she's the electrical girl. Her hair turns white.
Yes.
She was great. Looked great. Great effects and everything on that. And I have to say that Supergirl's special effects on that show are great. Like, they are throwing some money at that, or they just have a crack team of people who work for free. I don't know what's going on, but that show always looks really good to me. So
awesome.
It's always in the daytime.
Yes.
That's the other big like Supergirl's almost always in the daytime. Jessica Jones is almost always at night. So it's great. And the season 2 is a lot lighter. There's a lot more daytime stuff. But even the Defenders was like almost all at night.
Yeah. Well, even like I said, I'm not going to tell you guys who, but I know already with the episodes I've watched that there's another character from the Marvel universe that shows up. So it seems like you said, they're kind of opening those doors. But man, we've talked a lot about the shows. Let's hear, who do you think would win in this throwdown?
Who's going to win? Yeah. All right. Well, here's the thing, right? We know that Supergirl is nigh invulnerable. She's invincible. She's a Kryptonian on Earth. There is no weakness for her. You cannot hurt her, right? But Jessica Jones can get cut. Regardless of how super strong she is, a bullet would kill her.
Sure.
Right? But Jessica Jones is smart and devious and cunning. And does what she needs to do to survive. And there's a big part of me that's like, no one Kara knows is safe. Like, Jessica would hunt down everyone in her life until Supergirl left the planet of her own accord. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely, man.
So I really feel like Jessica has the advantage in the fact that she will fight kicking and screaming the whole way.
Wow, and like you said, definitely, definitely put up a good fight. Like it's one of those things where, if she was able to figure out what was Kara's weakness, like she'd be in for some big trouble there.
Absolutely, yeah. Getting a hold of kryptonite or something in that vein, and being able to kind of even those playing fields as a private eye, I feel like she'd find those things out. With as good as she does with that sort of thing, she'd find out who her sister was. She'd find out who Jimmy was, and she'd be able to exploit all this stuff.
That's true. Yeah, like you said, those weaknesses there, where, like you said, while Jessica might have some, in that sense, but the likelihood that Supergirl would even stoop to that level is very unlikely. So,
but again, looking at it not in the sense of the two characters have to kill each other, right?
Yes.
Let's take it toe for toe on the show. I will say that the character depth and development in Jessica Jones, considering these people don't have good lives, is something that I absolutely adore. I think there's so much more characterization and weight to everyone's actions that I truly love it. I think it's fantastic, and I would still upvote Jessica Jones over Supergirl. So.
Oh, okay. Now, like you said, maybe I'm just going classic in the sense of, like, she's pretty much a female version of Superman, I think same thing. It's like you said, if those issues were there, or if those things, attributes were there where she could figure those things out, definitely she'd have a fighting chance. But man, just that, the powers and stuff like that Supergirl has. Not that I think she would sit there and met Jessica Jones's face or anything like that, but if she was able to pretty much get up there and take a punch at her, I think Supergirl would end up on top.
Yeah. All right.
I think so.
So we're taking opposite ends of the spectrum here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But hey, that's okay.
Yeah. That's what makes it exciting.
I'm sure the people out there, are going to have some stuff to say. We had DC Eric in there and Party Man. Well, man, I can't wait to see what they have to say. What Kelly Jade has to say. Definitely be sure to go in there and throw in some votes.
Yeah, we've got a link to the poll in the description of the video. We'll make sure to put one on YouTube too in the description of the video. So go and check that out. Make your votes and stuff. And I'm excited to see where this one ends up because I know they're super huge fans. And again, they're apples and oranges. I can't wait to see where it ends up.
All right, man. So, hey, we're going to take a quick break for some news and then bring it back for our other two bouts.
I think so, man. I think that's probably the thing to do is to go ahead and jump into some PoDunk news, take a quick break, and then we'll come back for the final four.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
All right.
PoDunk News.
Hey, there we go. That looks good.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
All right. Too many people around me, I think, are trying to hack my internet for spring break, man. They're crapping us out. But we did wrap up that bout. I'm not sure how much everybody got to see, but Senor Bull decided that he's going to go Supergirl full tilt. He thinks the amazing abilities of a Kryptonian would absolutely outclass Jessica Jones. I do think that Jessica Jones's depth of story, characterization, and her deviousness and intelligence as a private eye, her ruthlessness, would give her the advantage. So we have a split decision there, which means we need all of you guys to go ahead and hit the link in the description, head over to the poll and cast your vote so we can find out who takes it between Supergirl and Jessica Jones.
Oh, yeah, man. We look forward to hearing it, man. Like you said, it's cool because, we're all friends. We're all having a good time, man. Doesn't mean we all have to agree. And, we're not playing favorites here. It's just when you look at the two characters on the table, and I saw earlier, and I know Party Man Will was like, well, I don't really know a lot about Iron Fist. Well, we're trying to give you at least a little bit just to kind of go off of. And it's like, hopefully that's enough for you to kind of make a decision. Or, hey, even if it's just that you're like, I like that character more. I mean, it's not so much like, you could just be like, I would hope that they would win. So cast your vote for them, man.
It's up to you to use whatever criteria you want to use to decide. If you're like, I just love this show better, man, hey, that's all you need to do. We're just excited to see what people think, what they like, and for you guys to enjoy playing some games and casting some votes with us because we appreciate spending time with all you beautiful people. But right now, we decided to take a quick break. We're going to jump into some PoDunk news, tell you guys some wacky and wild news going on in the world today, and then we're going to jump right back in to the final four.
Oh, yeah, man. Like you said, it's, I loved what you guys did with PoDunk News last week, man. You talked about the Oscars. You talked about that crazy guy, going off and stealing a cop car and going to Taco Bell and stuff. But, man, I got some really wild stuff to tell you about this week, man. Well, there's always that thing where, you got your Generation X, your Generation Y, your Millennials. They have all these names. And some people, they don't care. They're like, whatever.
I don't.
I knew this story would be kind of like, you'd be like, whatever. But actually, there's a new micro generation out right now that just came out to some professor or something.
Are those like little people or something?
But no, it was people that are born between 1977 and 1983 are now known as Xennials.
Oh, okay.
So you're not part of Generation X and you're not part of Millennials. You are an Xennial.
Is that like because you were born when Aliens came out or something?
That's a good thing right there. I mean, they could have. I think it's trying just combining those two.
Yeah,
but yeah, absolutely.
Party Man Will, what year did the first Aliens movie come out? When did Ridley Scott's come out? I want to know. I could look it up, but it's so much easier just to ask you.
Absolutely. Plus, it keeps the comments flowing. Well,
I know. But Party Man Will loves to look smart. Go ahead and post stuff in there because he's not Googling this. Like, you might think he's out there Googling it for us. He's not. He's just like, I know exactly. What that is.
Well, one of the key things that they thought that was important about them specifying a different, micro generation for people who were born during this time was that we were exposed to computing at an early age, playing stuff like Oregon Trail, the old floppy disk, like back when I know it's not when it was originally, back in the day in like the 50s and stuff, they were punching all the cards and stuff. But either way, it was like kind of from a very early age, we were like sitting behind a computer screen.
Gotcha.
Also, we experienced the birth and growth of the internet, pretty much that the advent of like smartphones and social life before social media. Like they're saying that it will never revert back to that.
Right. We bridged the gap between the two. That's cool. Party Man Will disagrees though, because he says 1979 is when Aliens came out, and that's totally why they call this that.
Well, like I said,
we're all xenomorphs.
Well, the funny thing is being that it's between 77 and 83, when a lot of people say, the best way to remember that is that's when the time span that the original
Star Wars trilogy came out in, right? Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, if you were born during that time, you're cool with me. So
heck yeah, yeah. I don't want to hear about any novelizations. Just talking about the movies.
But absolutely. So just it's a new term. I'm sure you're going to hear getting thrown around. It's cool. Mostly just people our age, like being like, we don't really want to be associated with Generation X. And we don't really want to be associated with millennials, so we need to have our own title. Darn it.
I know. It's all these people. People are they're so into labels, man.
I know.
I'm just not into labels, man.
I know. Why are they always talking about sponsorships? But another cool story that came. Well, not cool. This is actually pretty funny. A 46-year-old man is being charged with theft after he apparently stole a pot of cooked meatballs from a chef's garage. Now, I definitely want to get your opinion on this one. But for one, like, what were the meatballs doing in a chef's garage?
Dude, that's absolutely the first thing I thought was like, is he like cooking out there, or was he like working on his car? And he's like, oh, I'm gonna, have some meatballs while I'm making my car work. I guess he's Italian.
We might have to throw this one over to the horror mafia. They like to always talk about the food stuff and and I mean, like, just be like, what did you guys? think? Is it
you guys are Italian, man. Like, what do you guys do with meatballs in the garage?
And not to mention, like, would this be like, an arrestable?
They say like, hey, these are like the 3-day-old meatballs. We use them to bang out the dents in the car.
Absolutely, man. Well, here's the funny thing. Okay, so the chef reports these meatballs stolen, right?
Okay.
So police find the 46-year-old man standing in a nearby yard, and he doesn't have the pot with him, but he literally has like tomato sauce like on his mouth, like in his beard and on his clothes. So like right there, they're like, "Hey, did you just have a couple meatballs or something?"
Dude, I'm pretty sure this guy had the pot on him.
Well, you mean a different type of pot?
Yeah, exactly. This dude had the munchies and was like, "Yo, man, found me some meatballs, yo." But talk about getting caught red-handed. This guy got caught red-faced, bro.
Exactly. That's what I knew you'd dig about this story, man. Is that it literally takes that old thing. Now they did find the pot nearby, not marijuana, but the actual
the chef's pot.
So it was nearby. I mean, I think the meatballs had either dumped out or the man had consumed them all. But yes, he was arrested for theft of stolen meatball.
Party Man Will, dude, he's killing it down there in the comments. He's like, he got caught red-bearded.
There you go. That's exactly what it is. I do notice that, after our little interruption there, it looks like DC Eric is headed out. If any of you guys are friends with Eric, be sure to just tag him in there. Let him know we're still partying in here. I loved having that aspect for our discussion. But we got a little more PoDunk news for you guys. So I know some video game news here. The 1995 RPG classic Chrono Trigger is now available for download on PC.
Nice.
So yeah, definitely can jump on Steam and check it out. It was a surprise. Like
it was like just popped up there.
Yeah, people were like, "Oh my gosh!" And people had been asking for it. And so I guess like in on the PlayStation Network, it's been available for many years. And people were like, "Man, I'd love to play this on Steam." Some of the Final Fantasy games and stuff are on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just was kind of like a surprise. So,
now, didn't you tell me you were surprised when Jessica Jones came out?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, this could just be me. Like I say, I had my party weekend for my birthday and stuff, and I just probably missed all the posts. But almost everything I saw with Jessica Jones, it was like soon. coming soon. Like it never really had a date, but you told me a different story.
Yeah. Like my sister is a very big advocate for women and women empowerment and all that sort of stuff. And boy, she told me in like December that she's like, "Can you believe it's coming out on International Women's Day?" And I was like, I can't believe we had an International Women's Day. I didn't know. I celebrate women all the time. I love them,
Well, like I told you, man, when I saw that post, I was like, well, I was kind of celebrating it Deadpool style. No, I'm just kidding.
That's awesome, man. I couldn't help. Look, I just saw DC Eric shows back up, and he's like, "I'm here, but Dr. Fate needed me in another realm."
That's awesome, man. Well, welcome back, Eric. We're glad we didn't lose you there. Like you said, that's the great thing of doing an internet show. You just never know what's going to happen, and you're at the mercy of your Facebook masters.
Yeah, we're at the mercy of the FBI. That's like, what are these guys talking about?
But if you guys are RPG fans and you want to check out Chrono Trigger on Steam, you can get it now for $14.99.
Yeah, I have to say the Xbox Live and their libraries and stuff like that. Like I always peruse that because I have the gold membership, whatever thing. And they're always like 85% off this game that's like 12 years old. And I'm like, oh, dude, it's got to be like $1. There's like $9.99. I'm like, dude, do games ever depreciate? Like, what's going on? Like, $14.99 for a game that came out in 1995?
Oh, man.
I mean, I realize it's a classic. It's iconic. But it's like, did they update it? Is it like a Game of the Year edition? I'm going to have to go look at that, man, because that's kind of like, bro, really? Breaking my balls, man.
Absolutely, man. Like, you're right. I mean, this is a game that came out on Super Nintendo, has been ported many times. $15. I mean, if like I said, if it was $5, I mean, I think the game is worth $15 if you've never played it. So I get why Square's doing it, but
right.
Or Square Enix or whatever the hell they're called now.
Yeah, who knows?
But yeah, I mean, it's just I was like, yeah, $15 seemed a little high, but I guess being that it's like one of the first times that it was available on PC, they're like, hey, we're gonna make that money.
I suppose, man. I want to say, Party Man Will, we appreciate you always spreading the love, but you're spreading it on a little thick right down there in the comments, man. I see that.
Things are getting wild. Oh man, Eric G's in the house too, man. Another big comic fan, man. Definitely welcome, man. And he's coming to us from the Big Apple. I know he made a trip up there for his.
He's up there in the Defender's backyard, man. That's dope, bro.
Yeah, he might have to go into Hell's Kitchen.
No, don't go to Hell's Kitchen, man. Yeah, go to Queens or something where Spider-Man is. It's like super nice. Or go to Brooklyn, where Captain America's from. Don't go to Hell's Kitchen. Sometimes they call it Chelsea now, right? They were trying to rename it Chelsea.
Give it a little polish.
Yeah,
right?
it sound not so bad.
Well, one more thing I wanted to mention. It's been kind of coming by here in the scroll. We really enjoyed it last month, but man, this upcoming Friday, AWE returns with their Shamrock and Brawl, up in Cocoa Beach. It's March 16th. The tickets will cost you $20 for general admission, $30 for ringside. But if you're going to do that, be sure you get your tickets in advance because they're probably going to sell out. 7 p.m.'s the bell time. And, man, why don't you tell them about some of the cats that are coming out for this one?
Dude, last time we went, I was blown away by all the famous people that were there. And this time, it's no slouch, man. They've got Jesse Neal coming in.
Oh, yeah, man. And that's, that's great. We see, they're just pulling in more and more people. Someone that I'm a big fan of from back in the 90s, Gangrel. He had his time in the WWE where, he was the vampire warrior. And, he came in and he gave everyone, what was it? The bloodbath.
Yeah. And he would bring the goblet out. And
Yep. Gangrel's going to be there. Yep. Tanel Dashwood. She was formerly known as Emma, a more current star, just recently left WWE, and now she's hanging out here at AWE. We also got Chico Adams. Cheek. One of our favorites, man. They used to, I'm sure they're probably still doing stuff, but here in the St. Lucie, they used to go and do some local shows, and Chico would come out and rock it, man.
Yeah, man. The guy was great. He is really, really good. I love seeing him. I love that he was totally a face. And then we started the chant because he was like crowd favorite. Yes. And we were actually at a match where he totally turned heel. And that was like a year and a half ago or something.
Yep.
And we saw him at the AWE, and he's still a heel, just being a dog out there. And I'm like, bro, that's great, man. I'm glad he's just embraced it.
We're still cheering for him, though.
Yeah.
Cheek. Oh man, Party Man Will over here. He's saying, "Is Zabu gonna be there?" We would love if Zabu came, man.
Yeah.
The one thing is like this place, like the way they do their chairs and stuff like that. Like if Zabu jumped into the crowd, man, it would be.
You'd probably hit 15 people get hurt. You know.
But always a good
the guy
time.
next to me sitting in my lap. I'm like, dude, get out of my chicken wings, bro. What are you doing?
Now that was one thing. It takes place at the Space Coast Convention Center. And yeah, man, like you said, the food there was good. You know, definitely get there early if you go for general admission. Get yourself a good seat. Or like you said, pay that little extra money and you'll be right at ringside.
Yeah, the food is wicked, though. The food was really good. I have to say it was great value and super good food. But you guys don't want to hear me blab on about food. You want to talk about our March Madness edition of the Defenders versus the Arrowverse. What do you say we jump right back
Let's
into
do it.
All right, man. We're heading back to the studio, everybody. Make sure to join us there.
Oh man, no, I love it, man. We're here, man. And like I said, we started it off pretty strong. You know, talking about Green Arrow and Iron Fist and Supergirl and Jessica Jones. Man, what is coming up next?
Oh man. Well, quick recap. We both doubled down on Arrow.
Yep.
Beating out Iron Fist for his bracket. We'll have to see what all of you beautiful people out there have to say. If you want to vote for the Immortal Iron Fist, there's a link in the description for you to do just that. But we had a split decision on Supergirl versus Jessica Jones. I'm going JJ myself. I love that chick. She's like my spirit animal, man, because she's like, my life is so hard and there's so much work to be done. I'm going to get drunk and I don't care. And I'm like, I feel that. Senor Boyle is going for Supergirl, and he has a hopeful, bright, and loving future that we can all live in general one and harmony because he has lasers that shoot out of his eyes. So,
well, you know, it's funny. You know, we saw all that stuff that was going on PoDunk News between DC Eric and Party Man Will. I think I got them so excited because they know that like the Supergirls and Superboys and Supermen are definitely not my like favorite DC characters, but like just when you're stacking up the odds and stuff like that, like you said, I agree with you where it's like if Jessica has those advantages and like how low she'll go to like exploit certain things, like she's a definitely dangerous customer.
Yes,
but it's just that super strength is hard to beat.
Yeah,
you
that
know?
nigh invulnerability that a Kryptonian carries with them. I'm saying there's no doubt in my mind. That, you know, I don't think she could take out Supergirl, but I think she could take out Supergirl in her head.
Yes, she could trigger. Now, here's the thing, you know, Kelly Jade, thank you so much for filling in for me last week. I know probably right now, like, the heat eyes of Kelly Jade are burning through the screen at me for not choosing Jessica Jones. I do like Jessica Jones as a character, but it's just when this odds here, the stack up. Yeah. You know, even against any of the other defenders, I think Jessica Jones could
totally whoop them.
Yeah, exactly. Her strength and stuff like that. Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think Kelly Jade is off somewhere right now, imagining that she is Superman at the end of Justice League, and you're Steppenwolf.
Probably. Or I'm the mother box.
The mother box
just ripping me apart.
But okay, last thing we'll say about the wonderful women out here is I loved the promo for season 2 of Jessica Jones. That's I snagged it for the background here, where on the spray painted in the bathroom stall it says "Fight like a woman."
Yeah,
and I was like, that's so cool, man.
That was cool.
It's just really, really cool stuff.
They do a lot of neat stuff for her, and like I said, I really like where they're going with the character.
Yeah, especially considering the kind of not limelight that women get in feature films. You know, I mean, Wonder Woman definitely has jumped out into the forefront for DC being a pioneer for, you know, the kind of women stuff. But, you know, Marvel on film hasn't really jumped out with a solo woman thing or anything like that. But boy, here on Netflix, man, she got her season 2 before Iron Fist and Luke Cage.
Exactly.
You know? So it's great. I love to see, you know, all of the fanfare that she gets for it. But all right, we're gonna jump in to our next bout though, because I know everyone is super excited, man. So are you ready, Senor Boy? You ready to check it out? You ready to check it out?
Stoked.
Are all you beautiful people out there ready? Let's see who we got. We're taking on Black Lightning versus Luke Cage, the Power Man.
Oh man, you know, and it's funny when you look at when you're stacking up these characters. You know, it's like you said, you have Ollie and the and Iron Fist, because they have that very relatable thing, Supergirl versus Jessica, two women. Now you have these two very urban centric characters where they're like, like you're kind of seeing like what we like you said, Luke Cage is from Harlem, so it's like you're seeing that, and then I
don't think he's from Harlem, is he? Is he from Harlem?
I think he grew up there because remember he had like his him and a couple of those other guys were like a little gang or a clique, and they kind of ran around, and of course
But I thought he grew up in Georgia with his dad, the preacher. And stuff?
I think either they moved him there or but I'm pretty sure he had.
It's been a while since I've seen it. I'll have to watch it again.
But definitely the show.
But he represents Harlem.
Yes.
That's 100%.
Yes, and then you have Black Lightning, where I don't remember his exact town that he comes from, but you could tell that it's inner city. Like he's a principal at the school, and he has to balance that. And then he was a former superhero that kind of gave it up to kind of be with his family.
Yeah,
and like now he's coming back because the streets are getting so bad that he's got to clean it up. What I really like about both of these shows is that like, I can relate to it. I can go to like to cities and see like just these areas that I'm just kind of like, man, I don't know what that's like, but it's when you watch something like Black Panther, it's like I've never been to Africa or anything like that, but it's like it's awesome that where they're going with those storylines. But these two storylines, it's like, man, I can relate to them. It's like you can see like the things that people are going through. I mean, I know a lot of people sometimes are like, they're throwing too much like political based stuff into these shows, but man, I think it's a really cool outlet that they're having for both of these characters. But to pit them together or against each other, I'm having a tough one with this, so I'm going to try to pass it back to you.
Okay,
again.
First and foremost, I want to say that we did say you can use any criteria you want to choose your favorite.
Yes,
and I think that Party Man Will citing that the actor who plays Luke Cage also voices Spartan Locke in the Haloverse is why he loves Luke Cage more, I think is absolutely valid, and please vote for Luke Cage because that would make me happy in a way that I couldn't even express to you, Party Man Will. But
that is pretty cool. I mean, Spartan Locke
very cool trivia.
Is pretty awesome. That's what I'm saying. I think that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so
I didn't realize that either. But I will say that I had not watched Black Lightning, and we were talking about it last night at it was like 3 a.m. You were telling me about the show, and we were talking about doing this, and I said like, oh, is he part of the Arrowverse? And you said, well, it's the multiverse thing. So I said, okay, well, let's get him in there then because I think it's a good face-off.
Sure.
So I decided to watch the premiere last night.
Oh, cool. So you checked it. What'd you think?
I will tell you that I paused the show to look at the timer, because at 11 minutes and 24 seconds, I was like, I hate this and I don't want to watch any more of this show.
Now,
it was just so campy and had such a message that they just wanted to hammer you in the face with, and there was no subtlety to it. Like, it just seemed like it was written so badly. And then, like, everything about the character, like the guy who's going to play Black Lightning, just seemed so campy to me. Like, just... I hated it, man. But I paused it there because it was like, I know at this moment that I don't like this show, but I continued to watch it because I was like, I'm going to give it its fair shake. And I hate to do that. I hate to bail on something,
Yeah.
But that snap judgment, like 10 minutes to me is a pretty good chunk of time when there's no commercials or anything.
Sure.
But even still, like, that was pretty fast for me to get that impression of a show I literally knew nothing about, right? But I continued to watch the show.
Mm-hmm.
It was 16:46.
Oh, jeez.
And I turned it off, and I went to bed because I was like, it wasn't because it was 5 a.m. that I was trying to watch it or anything like that. But I was like, dude, Black Lightning literally just was yelling at, I presume, his daughters or something, and they're like, you were out at a riot where they were blowing up cop cars or something. And then he just blew up a cop car because, like, he was angry and shit. And I get it. He was totally justified in being angry. But that was like, I'm like, that's not a hero at all to me. Like, I don't understand what's going on in the scene. And like, just because someone is treating you poorly, you don't just cause wanton destruction. Like, that's what villains do, dude. So I wasn't getting the show like right off the bat at all. But just the way it was presented was so like, everyone seemed so incredibly one-dimensional. And again, maybe this is totally not fair because I get it was a pilot and it's a like kind of a network TV show. They're not making $1 million an episode or anything. But just, man, I just thought the writing was so bad in it. And I feel bad because I don't know anything about Black Lightning. I've never read a comic with him. The first time I've literally ever seen Black Lightning, we were at a party with Justin K this past weekend where we were bringing him he won the copy of Thor Ragnarok, and we brought it to him, and he wanted to show us some valuable comics that he had, and one of them's like an ancient Superman comic that had Black Lightning right on the cover, and I was like, dude, that's the guy. How cool.
Absolutely.
That's the extent of my knowledge in Black Lightning, and the show was so bad that I was like, I don't even want to sit and watch this. I don't care about anything that's going on because it's so just cheesy, man. So Luke Cage is totally, like you said, it's very urban. It takes place in Harlem.
Sure.
You get a really good sense of the black community without them telling you this is a show about the black community. Like, it's just about people who live in that culture. And I loved seeing that culture and everything about it. And you felt like you were just one of them. You know, you felt like
absolutely.
you lived there. You were in that culture.
It definitely seemed more in the real. I mean, I will definitely say that it seemed like more. And you're right. Like I've watched like 2 or 3 episodes of Black Lightning, and unfortunately, I haven't kept up with it just because there's so many shows. You know, Walking Dead came back, and all. I'm going to continue to watch it because I thought that I liked the grit that the show brought, which comes in a little later. Like you said, that first episode. The person I was watching it with had a very similar opinion, that they were just like, this seems like it's just constantly shoving crap in my face that I don't want to see. But I think they really flesh out the story a little more later, and then like seeing like where they're going with it. Like I said, I know grit's like being done to death, so it's kind of like, sometimes people are just like, I don't want to see it. But I think when they bring that level of stuff to the TV show, you're just kind of like, wow, this might be trying to do a different thing, and I think that's why they're keeping it separate from the Arrowverse, because they don't want to be contained to like being like, well, if the Flash is here, we have to be nice, Absolutely, like that. I'm glad you checked it out. I mean, I hope I didn't put it off as being like the greatest thing in the universe, because same thing for myself. I haven't been able to keep up. I did like the first couple episodes, but like I said,
I'll have to give it another shot and really watch it, because it's just. Again, maybe it was going somewhere, but I didn't get it right off the bat. That I was like, what's the message they're trying to send us here? Because I absolutely felt like, everyone in the story was just very cliche. Like they had the gang guy who like runs drugs out of a bar thing, and I'm like. That's that's like a cheesy movie thing. It's been like done to death. And then like, oh, his daughter's like a teenager, but she went to this banging fucking club that I've never been to a club like that in my life. And she's just there. And I get hot girls get to do that sort of thing. But again, you're like, that's so ridiculous. Like if her dad's like a principal or whatever and a former superhero, like his own kid's a jerk. Like what? It just seems so weird to me. I just didn't get it.
Like you said, I definitely like that you said, hey, it was the pilot. So, hey, if you have some extra time, check out the rest of it. Maybe watch a couple episodes just to give it a full run. And who knows, you might still be like, nah, it just isn't for me.
Absolutely. But Luke Cage, man, the first episode was just so good. By the time Marshala Ali showed up, and again, he's the drug dealer who owns a nightclub, but everything about it was so believable. And that guy had so much character. And there was so much depth to who he was and everything like that. And you got that immediately. And again, Marshala Ali is an Academy Award-winning actor that they got for the show.
Sure.
So, there's kind of that standoff between Netflix having the money to pull in something like that. But just the writing alone, like the comparison between Black Lightning and Luke Cage, to me is the iconic DC versus Marvel clash, where Marvel's all about the character and DC's all about the hero. So there's nothing really behind the hero, and I didn't like that.
Well, I actually have a funny story to kind of relate almost to like your Black Lightning story. Okay. Is that the first time I watched like the first 2 episodes of Luke Cage, like I said, maybe it was late at night, or maybe I just wanted to go and watch Star Trek and not watch that, and like I was like, I'm not really digging this, and I actually put it down for about probably 6 or 7 weeks. Like I didn't watch another episode.
Sure.
And then we were chatting or something, and I was like, man, I know the Defenders are going to come, and I need to watch it. So I went back and I rewatched the first 2 episodes. Still didn't think it was like great, but then by the time I got to like the 5th episode, I was like, damn, that was like that was awesome. And it's like you said, like the Cottonmouth character.
Yes.
And I don't know the guys. I know you just said it, but like that. he was awesome.
Yes.
Like, he was amazing.
Yes.
You know? And same thing, how the show wrapped was great. So I'm so glad that I went back and watched it.
Yeah.
So who knows, man? Maybe go and watch Black Lightning. You might be pleasantly surprised later on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, I realize it's a pilot and it's a network pilot and everything like that, and it's very different than everything else. But it just seemed like it just clubbed you over the head right from the get-go, and there wasn't really like any subtlety to what was happening. Like, it was just everything was so over the top and egregious that I was like, dude, this is almost like off-putting because it's so like corny.
It could leave a bad taste in your
yeah,
mouth,
it was
but
like watching a live-action cartoon that you're just like, what? This is...
Real quick before we jump into who we think would win, I do see Party Man Will is like knocking it out of the park tonight, man. Thank you so much. I mean, he's putting in a bunch of history here about Black Lightning.
Yeah, and I'm absolutely reading all of that. That's so cool, dude. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, man. That's great stuff. And same thing for other folks who maybe haven't watched Black Lightning yet. Maybe that will give them a chance to go check it out. It's not on Netflix or anything yet. You know, you can watch it, but like through the CW app. But hey, you know, we've talked a lot. I mean, same thing like we said. Luke Cage. Awesome show, great villains. Like I thought they were awesome, and like I can't wait for his season 2. You know, like I'm super stoked for that.
Yeah, him being in Jessica Jones, in Luke Cage, and in the Defenders, and yet his character just grows in each iteration of what's going on.
Yes,
you know, and I just love it, and he's so good. The actor's fantastic. I think his name's like Michael Coulter. I think.
Mike Coulter. Yep, you got it.
Yeah, he's great, man. I just. Yeah, like I connect with that guy, and I feel like he's so, like, he has that hero persona. He seems to me very much like a Superman in the sense that you want to be friends with this guy like immediately, like because he seems like a good dude, and I love that. It's very inviting.
And, you know, like you said, we didn't really get into Black Lightning's powers, but let's just tell people who might not be as familiar with Luke Cage what is his power.
Yeah. We'll run through it real quick. Black Lightning seems like he is like living lightning, you know, like he can move super fast, he can electrocute stuff, he can make electricity subside around him and things like that. And Luke Cage, again, he kind of borders on this nigh invulnerable thing, but it's his skin is like impenetrable. Like bullets bounce off him, a needle won't go through him, anything like that. His insides are still vulnerable.
Yes.
You know, he needs air to breathe, kind of stuff like that. But he has unbreakable skin, which is so cool and done so well on the show. And such an interesting power in general and the super strength. Obviously, he has super strength, right?
Yes.
So he like fold guns in half with his hands, kind of stuff, you know. But yeah, such an interesting power and ability to have that contrasts nicely with the other Avengers, Defenders, especially like Jessica Jones, who is super strong like he is, but way more vulnerable than he is. Like she gets cut and everything very easily. So really, really interesting stuff. Cool power set. I believe that they even have an instance, and I was trying to remember it last night, where Luke Cage is electrocuted. Isn't there a moment where he's electrocuted and it does actually like kind of mess him up?
Yeah. You know, I remember.
It sounds like that might have been something that happened, right?
Well, I know, like, there's something where they get inside, like they, you know, like there's some inner thing that gets them, and then, but yeah, I think you're right. There was some sort of electric shock because
like maybe getting hit with a taser or something.
Yeah, because it wasn't like it was on his skin; it like shocked his system. Like so he has weaknesses. It's not like he's just walking around. You know, like you said, like, but it's just so well done. You know, like all and just the progression of his show was very interesting to me, and I think everyone that I've talked to, you know, that if they share kind of like the way they love Daredevil, they were kind of like, well, you know, Jessica Jones was fun, and then they were just like, holy crap, like Luke Cage was like, whoosh, brought it back up to the super top, and then like Iron Fist, look, it's like this wave kind of.
Yeah. But yeah, no, definitely. Let's go ahead and break down the bracket because I think I totally went on a Black Lightning rant. I'm sorry. Like I said, I don't mean to dog it out, but just like, wow, what an impression this made on me right away.
Oh my goodness.
But Luke Cage, I absolutely love it. I love all the characters. Like I said, you feel like you're part of the Harlem community, like immediately, and you get to see what it's like to live in that neighborhood and learn all about it and the people there and the history of it and how, you know, they support the kids there and, you know, the police force there, just everything. It's so great. And everything was inviting and lovely and just really nice. Even with all the crime and corruption.
Sure.
Like, their villains had class, and I loved that. Yeah. So, hands down, I love everything about Luke Cage and his show on Netflix more than, you know, Black Lightning and the little bit that I saw of it, I was just not impressed with it all. So,
well, being that I'm a little more versed in the Black Lightning stuff, I'm still gonna say that I think Luke Cage would take the win.
Yeah.
You know, where, like you said, there might be some weaknesses to electricity or something. It just seems to be that, you know, if they met up and, you know, they started to get into a brawl or something and Black Lightning was pulling his stuff, Luke Cage would adapt to the situation and figure out how he could do it. You know, in the show, like, you see some of his past and, you know, where he was in prison. You know, this is Luke Cage I'm referring to. He was in prison and, you know, how he had to deal with certain things. You know, it's like he's not just
without powers before he had powers.
Exactly.
You know?
So him being able to do, he's just a very well-rounded character. And I know, like, even I think some of Black Lightning stuff might even come, like, from his suit. So it's like if Luke Cage, like, you know, does any damage to that, he's going to have some problems.
Well, I can tell you the first episode I watched, the guy's in a tuxedo, like shooting lightning and running around. So,
well, like you said,
you know, maybe there's other stuff he can do, but in general, shooting lightning and running at the speed of light seems pretty epic as a power, you know?
Catherine D says here that she liked that Black Lightning was a principal.
Yeah, and I thought that was cool too, but then, again, it was so muddled in, like, the first 10 minutes of the story. They tell me he's a principal. He's a vigilante superhero. He's wanted by police. Other people think he's good. He knows a senator who's at his party inducting him as a principal, but also gets, like, pulled over and badgered by random cops. But he knows the police chief who says, I don't think those cops are with me. And I'm like, well, does anyone know anything that's going on? Like, how does this guy know everyone, but the community's still jacked up? And, dude, it really kind of irritated me. And this is so dumb, but they're like, that party runs till 10 o'clock, daughter, so make sure that you're home so dad doesn't find out that you're late. Dude, but there's, like, kids from the school at that party, like, in their prep school uniforms, and they're going to be there till 10 o'clock at night? Like, who the hell? Why is a senator going to be at a party at 10 o'clock at night? I'm pretty sure they got to get up in the morning. It just seemed totally weird to me. I didn't like the writing at all.
Like I said, I guess when you stack it up against Luke Cage, I mean, there's definitely, I mean, even if you're going to say, what do you think is the better show? I mean, hands down, without any powers inside, but go watch Luke Cage.
And maybe the comics for Black Lightning are awesome. I have no idea. Like I said, I never read them. But I never really read a Luke Cage comic either. Like, I've read him in the Avengers, especially when they had the new Avengers, when they split after the Civil War in comics. He was a huge player in that, and I loved it. And him and Jessica were both in there, so it was fun.
I would have to say, if we're talking about comics that remind you of a character, I remember one time Punisher gets sent to prison, and Jigsaw is in there waiting for him, and he messes him up big time, like cuts his face up. He looks like Freddy Krueger, and he gets out, and some prostitute or something, like, helps him, like, get to a place, and Luke Cage is, like, helping these people, and she's like, Luke, we need to help this guy. He's like, who is he? She's like, I don't know, but look at his face, he's all messed up. So they bring him to, like, some sort of, like, a guy that could do a
plastic surgeon,
surgeon, you know, to heal him up. And then when the Punisher wakes up, he's a black guy, and she's like, oh, well, you told me you wanted to be, like, you know, you didn't want people to recognize you. Now, granted, this storyline only lasted like 3 issues, but I thought it was really fun. I mean, it was very fantastical that, you know, it doesn't even, you know, like, what do you do, the reverse Michael Jackson kind of deal thing or something? But, you know, it's like, you know, it was just fun, you know, but then I guess I read a list where it was like 10, like, Punisher stories Marvel wants you to forget, and that was on there, and I'm like, dang, that's like one of my favorite Luke Cage stories. So
yeah, man, hey, it's all about diversity and being able to, you know, bring it together, man. So that's what's nice. But again, let us know what you guys think. Let me know what I mean. I'm totally gonna be like, Party Man Will and DC Eric have not commented a thing about Black Lightning, and I think that says a lot. But let me know if you guys think Black Lightning is great and why I should give it another chance. Any of you beautiful people out there, feel free to throw it in the comments, man, because I'd love to check out the show or look at it from a different perspective, because maybe I'm missing something out of it. But otherwise, you're welcome to go to the page and vote for the hero that you like best. But we've been going on and on about this one.
Yeah.
We really need to get to the final bout, because I am excited. This is my absolute favorite face-off in our show tonight, and I think probably it's going to be of the entire March Madness, depending on how things go. But I'm super psyched to talk about the Men in Red. That's right. We've got The Flash versus Daredevil.
Oh man, what Well, what a battle
Yeah.
here. I mean, it's like, not even, like you said, just the characters alone, like, are so complex and so cool, and I love both these shows.
Yeah.
You know, like, I
I
think
would
they're
say
great.
that both of these, to me, are the favorites in their respective things. Like, in the Defenders, I think everyone would hands down be like, Daredevil's the best of those shows. And I think in The Flash, in the Arrowverse, I think most people would be like, The Flash is the best of those shows.
Sure.
Like, from the people I talk to, but...
No, I agree. I mean, like, as much as, like you said, Arrow is the original, like, The Flash just brings so much heart to the show, and at least from what I've read, and I know for a while there, me and Party Man Will would go back and forth on different, like, theories about The Flash and stuff. And I know, like, just like you said, with the TV shows, they change things to a certain aspect, But like I said, I like them. I like the things that they do and the whole multiple world stuff. I mean, I know, like we said, just like almost like with Luke Cage, like, Daredevil's more like keep things in the real.
Yes. I mean, can we say that when they had like undead ninjas running around?
Yeah, but I mean, just the way that his character's handled, I guess, is where I'm driving at. Like, I know, like, we're talking about a guy who's a speedster versus a guy who's a blind ninja, like you said, which is a classic, just a trope. But it's like, I think what was great about Daredevil when he was first created was that, there's guys out there. I mean, I don't have great eyesight. I know you don't have. It's like there's some kids out there who are blind, and just for them to know that, hey, there's a superhero who's blind that goes out there and fights. It's really cool.
Yeah, and I love the fact that it's in a show now, because I don't think they got much out of the comics, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, that a superhero who was handicapped in any capacity was something great to see in 1960.
Oh, yeah.
Like when this came out, that was very innovative about it. But by the same token, I've always looked at this as an inspiration to everyone, because most superheroes have fantastical powers that make it easy for them to do the right thing and to do good. It's easy for Superman to be the most altruistic character because nothing bad's going to happen to him.
Sure.
But Daredevil is someone whose abilities, in a huge portion, only make up for his disabilities.
No,
so
very
he
true.
goes out there as a man and does what he thinks is right at great personal risk to himself. Now, again, his abilities do give him some leg up in almost every scenario. I mean, hands down, almost every scenario. But again, he's not superhuman to some, extent of a Superman or even a Luke Cage or even an Iron Fist,
Well, let me ask you this, man. Like, with the Netflix Daredevil, do you think his powers, so to say, are as heightened as, like, let's say, like, I know we don't like to talk about it, but
I don't mind talking about it.
But the Ben Affleck Daredevil, because remember, like, he had to, like, sleep in water, because, like, he didn't want to hear all the stuff.
Yeah, the sound was too. Well, I think that both of them are very much on par. But I think that TV show Daredevil has very much more control over what he does. And I think that's primarily because of their reintegration of the classic character Stick.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
Stick trained him.
Yes.
And I think that Affleck Daredevil didn't really have that opportunity. But I will say that versus the comic books, I think both of the characters are severely depowered.
Oh, yeah.
Because in comics, they oftentimes talk about Daredevil being able to place his hand over a computer monitor and feel the heat from the different colors emitted by the pixels on the screen. And you're like, Jesus, that's got to be irritating, like... So, I mean, have you ever touched something that you're like, oh, this is rough and it feels weird?
And like you said, the Flash, I mean... I might be going out of my thing saying this, but I mean, I'd say he's probably one of the most powerful characters in DC Comics.
Yes.
Like, I mean, every crisis has something to do with the Flash.
Yes. The ability to transcend space and time.
Yes.
Really is like his potential power is far greater than anyone else. Because let's say that he could go back in time to a time when Superman was showing up to Earth and probably just knock his spaceship away.
Sure.
And then no yellow sun. Sorry, Superman.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. And that's, just having that ability. But same thing that we said with the shows being that there's a little more, he's kind of like, he's not getting there. Now, if you guys are current watching, I know there was a recent episode that I think everyone kind of felt like they maybe jumped the shark a little bit and like really ultra powered Barry, and it's like no, keep him.
Scale it back a bit.
Keep him kind of keep him kind of like where he's still learning. Now, real quick before we jump around too much, I wanted to just mention Party Man Will threw out another great piece of trivia.
Okay,
he did say that the Ninja Turtles created Daredevil, but I think that's a little skewed. I would say that Daredevil created the Ninja. Tell people what that's about.
Okay, yeah. In the original story of Daredevil, there is a truck that crashes near Matt Murdock. Like he's crossing the street or something, and then there's a big accident, and he gets splashed in the face with toxic waste. When they wrote the original Ninja Turtles comic book, toxic waste seeped into the sewers. And that toxic waste is the ooze that is commonly retconned today, and that's what spawned the Ninja Turtles, right? But the idea being was that the creators of the Ninja Turtles were such fans of Daredevil that they wanted to play off of Daredevil's origin and create their characters. But it's not a Marvel comic, so they couldn't directly say that it was the same event.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, even in the TV show on Netflix, Daredevil's main kind of villain is a ninja clan called the Hand. And the Ninja Turtles fight a clan called the Foot. You know? There's all these parallels that the creators. It's Dan Eastman, right? And
Kevin Eastman.
Kevin Eastman
and Peter Lillard created the Ninja Turtles.
The creators of the Ninja Turtles are there. It's a huge homage piece to kind of Daredevil and their love for that comic kind of propelling them into comics. So.
Yeah, very cool trivia piece, man. Thanks for taking the
good
lead
shout
on
out, Party Man, being a primarily DC fan, dude. That's awesome, man.
Absolutely. And he threw down in here, he said, we got DC in here saying Daredevil was an ordinary guy who trained himself. Where definitely, like you said, being that he was blind and stuff, he had to overcome those those feats. But then, of course, at least according to the Netflix show, Stick had a very
well, traditionally, original comics, Stick was there and had trained Daredevil. So
absolutely,
that is but Daredevil's father was a boxer, so he knew kind of street tough fighting.
Yes.
Stick entered in the equation very early on, but to teach him how to fight like kind of ninja style.
Yes.
Because Stick was a blind man who fought like in martial arts.
Absolutely.
So he taught Daredevil to use the martial arts with his enhanced abilities being blind, and the two of them together made Daredevil into like really a superhero.
So definitely with our challenge here, we're going with the Daredevil from the Netflix show.
Yeah.
Not the reading stuff from computer screens from the college. And we're going from the Barry Allen from
the Arrowverse.
The Arrowverse,
the Arrowverse
where he's like, I wouldn't even say like most recently, where he's almost kind of getting master of time and space, where he's still learning. And like I know Party Man Will said here, every week it's Barry go faster. And you're right, that he said he did play the drinking game and he woke up a week later. And yes, that is a common thing. But even in the comics, that's always a thing. You go Mark 5, Mark 7, all these different.
Absolutely. That was definitely a trope in the comics. It turned into one. Eric G's like, he's obligated to vote for Daredevils. He's in his backyard. So we appreciate that, man. Whatever criteria you guys want to use. Yeah. But I want to take a minute to talk about The Flash on TV.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's just like I'm going on and on about Daredevil. I love him. I love Daredevil. I think the show's fantastic. I think what they do in the show's fantastic, But The Flash TV show, that blew my mind when it came out because I thought Arrow was okay. Mm-hmm. But when The Flash came out, not only was it a huge homage to the comics, it was a huge homage to the 90s Flash TV show.
Yes.
It was a huge homage to the animated series and straight-to-DVD animated movies that they made for The Flash. I mean, they had elements of all of that in The Flash. And again, like I said, Barry is that kind of person who he does have these superpowers and he's struggling to learn them, but he wants to do something good with them.
Yeah.
And I love that. Same thing where Daredevil is like, I'm mostly making up for my disabilities and I have a slight edge and I'm going to try to still do something good. That's very admirable. It's very Batman level-esque of like, nothing makes me better than anyone else other than the fact that I want to do what's right, at great personal expense. And Barry's the same way. he does have the abilities that in some sense protect him because of the power that he has, but it never makes him any less likely when he doesn't have his powers. When something takes his powers away, he's always struggling to do the right thing. So his character is the type of hero that, to me, DC Comics is known for. It's the type of hero that inspires people to just generally be good all the time, and to almost ignore their own personal demons, to always do what's right. And I think that's the most iconic thing about the DC universe to me, is that between all this Gods Among Us, Dark Justice League, gritty Dark Knight stuff, it's all about characters who want to do what's right. Originally there was never a question of like, what's Superman going to do? There's a train that's going to crash, but also there's a bad guy getting away. Should he save He's always going to save the people on the train. He's always going to do the good thing.
Absolutely, man. No, and it's a really cool parallel. Like you said, of the two different types of characters and in like what Barry has accomplished so far and like where they're going with it, because it's like, that's the one thing I think about the DC Justice League movie. Like they really jumped him into being this like today's level Flash. Like he could do practically stop time. To get all of whatever he wants to do. So it's just, he's so powerful. Like, how would he ever be late to anything? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you have any kind of drama there? So like I said, definitely I love what the show's doing. And I think it's good storylines. Trying to see him as a leader for his team. But that's the same thing too. I think with a lot of these CW shows, like they do too much team effort. Like let it be about just a Flash. Let it be about just Arrow.
I mean, it's cool to see the other people. And it's cool to see team ups and stuff like that, and that's great. But again, there has to be a primary focus on what the hero, the star of the show, is really doing. And the one thing I'd also like to say, because you were kind of talking about it just now, was that with the Flash, and Jon Favreau, when he made the original Iron Man movie, there's a behind-the-scenes featurette on the DVD where he says, "I remember watching the Sam Raimi Spider-Man in 2002, and thinking that the parts where he learned how to use his power was the best stuff in the movie."
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And when he was making Iron Man, they have the extended sequence of Tony learning how to use the stuff in the suit, the repulsor rays, the flying, and all of that. It's a big part of the first movie.
That's true.
And he said he included that because he loved those original pieces so much that Sam Raimi did. So, to me, when they have someone like the Flash, who, like in Justice League, could very easily just be, Mach 10 Barry.
Yes.
Or you can have him learn how to use his powers. That learning curve that he has, that always needs to go faster thing. And I get it. It doesn't need to always be going faster. Like, there's ways of being like, I need to survey a room, like what the Arrow was telling him and stuff like that,
Yes.
And, like,
you can still learn.
Yeah, there's still so much for him to learn, and I love that learning aspect of it. I always thought that was really great about the show. And I know that the last time I saw it, like I said, I'm not caught up. It's still kind of doing that.
Oh, yeah.
But there's always something for Barry to learn, and I love that, man.
And even Daredevil, to speak on him just real quick again, it's like, in the whole first season, like, he doesn't wear the traditional Daredevil costume. He doesn't really
he doesn't have the cane.
Yeah, exactly. It's like him kind of learning it, and it's like, while I felt that, like, man, I really wanted to see him be in the costume and be Daredevil, like, obviously, like, the Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio, is so great that it's like, that was great. It should have been called, like, Daredevil and the Kingpin, because it was like, that's really what the show was about,
Yeah.
And then when you watch season 2, you're just like, well, this is Daredevil. It's great.
Kind of the separation for me is that Daredevil is learning how to be a person.
Yes.
Because it's almost like he's a vigilante at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
And he's learning how to actually be a person, which I think has really taken the dynamic of the superhero genre and kind of turned it on its head a bit. And I think it's what makes it so compelling is that, yes, he's getting better as a hero all the time and becoming more of the traditional Daredevil that we know. But by the same token, especially his arc in the Defenders is very much about being like, what's his place as a person? Is he Daredevil or is he Matt Murdock? Where does he do more good? As the blind lawyer or as the blind superhero? Where really is his place in life? Not just how do I use my powers the best,
Absolutely, man.
I think it's very cool. Again, it's the difference between characterization and true kind of comic book heroism.
Yeah, and he's got his team too. Like you said, yes, Foggy and Karen, and you know, like it's very interesting dynamics. But like we said, we've talked a lot about the characters. I see Party Man Willow here says Darkman needs more love. Maybe he'll make it in the next year's March Madness. We should do that classic superheroes.
What we should do is we should do all old movie heroes. Like, so we can have, like, the Shadow and Phantom.
Meteor Man.
Oh, my God. Dude, don't even. I love Meteor Man. That's Robert Townsend. That's one of the best movies of all time, dude. Super good. I know there's a bunch of people who are millennials. They're not xennials like we are.
Yeah.
There's millennials out there that don't know anything about Meteor Man. And, dude, go and get it. That movie's the jam. It's so good.
That's funny,
or Blank Man, even,
Blank
for
Man,
that matter.
Yeah. A Mystery Man. We can get all those guys.
Oh, my God. Mystery Man is so good. So they're like the original Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
you know?
that's very, very good observation. But let's get back to the nitty-gritty here, man.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to take the lead on this one.
Oh,
this
my
time.
gosh.
All right. So I'm going to have to say that while, like you said, being with his powers and stuff like that, like Matt Murdock, I mean, he is like an insane fighter, and he's awesome. And like, man, when he goes through that freaking apartment complex in season 2 of Daredevil, I think it was probably one of the coolest comic book action sequence I ever saw.
Yes.
Like, just Barry's speed and like his like. Here's the thing: I almost want to be like, I don't think these guys would fight. Like, I think they would somehow like figure out a way to like go fight other things. Like, but being it's March Madness, we can't have just a bow out and say no contest. Like. I think I'm going to have to give it to the Flash.
You're going to go Flash,
Yeah,
huh?
I think I'm going to go Flash. So how about you?
Okay. Well, I know that we specified that when all the beautiful people out there want to go and vote, you're allowed to use whatever criteria you want. And I think I'm going to take advantage of that loophole.
Do it.
Right?
Let's hear it.
And here's my breakdown. I want to look at the original comics of him, right?
Uh-huh.
Frank Miller's work in Daredevil.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
so many people who've come in and out of it have done amazing work. But Stan Lee's original stuff, Frank Miller's build-up in the 80s, turning him into that grittier kind of Batman-level-esque gang boss fighting, everyman hero, so iconic and so good. But Jeff Johns, Brighton Flashpoint and stuff like that is just like, man, the stuff they have done with the Flash in comics is incredible. Him being a Blue Lantern.
Yeah.
When the brightest day happened, everything like that. Blackest Night. But you look at the two comics, no contest, man. They're evenly matched.
That's
so
how,
we can look at in movies.
Okay.
Let's look at in movies.
Okay.
You got Justice League Flash. You got Affleck. That's a total wash. They both sucked.
Yeah.
You know? So let's look at the shows, right?
Uh-huh.
Daredevil on Netflix. Just iconic, gripping, beautifully done. Threw a ton of money at it, right?
Yep.
But just like Jessica and Supergirl, it's night and day compared to The Flash. That absolutely draws everything it can from the comic in its hopefulness, its lightheartedness, its ability to inspire you in every episode, you know, and make you feel good. It's fantastic.
Sure.
But it's a total 180 from Daredevil.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? So I think last but not least, let's look at the criteria of who do I like better.
I knew this was coming.
Charlie Cox or
Grant Goose.
it's like Gustive. Yeah, there you go. Grant Gustive. And I'm going to say, my name's Charles. Your name's Charles. So I think the criteria I'm going to choose to use is that Charlie Cox is named Charles. And I like him. And I think he's great. And if anyone wants to visit my Facebook page, I dressed up as Daredevil for Halloween.
I forgot about that. That's true.
I'm a huge Daredevil fan. My favorite color's red. Both these cats wear red. It's such a razor-thin hair that would divide them both. But I'm absolutely going to go Daredevil.
Well, that's awesome, man. It's cool that, as you guys can see, while folks here in the comments, man, can have different opinions, me and El Bandito have different opinions. Even we're kind of stacking up the decks and seeing like what what we like more about the characters and what would divide us on it. We know that these are all heroes, man. And I know one thing, you know, when my loved ones watch some of these movies with me, they're like, why are they always fighting each other? Like, they need to be just fighting bad guys, you know, but it's like, it is kind of fun to just kind of see who we would think.
Yeah.
So we need you guys to go out there to that link. Like I said, it's in the description up
Yes.
there. Go ahead and throw down some votes, man, because we're going to be doing this throughout the month, man, and whoever wins, like you said, they're going to have to battle some of the other winners. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, whoever wins this week will battle it out with the other winners next week, and they'll battle it out for the final contention of the March Madness winner of 2018 here at the Power Hour of Love. And you're right, we're getting a lot of love for past heroes. I see the Green Hornet out there who's used to doing the 60s with the old Batman. Yeah, and then Seth Rogen bringing back the Green Hornet was really great.
That was a lot of fun.
But I think that we may have to put Charboil and El Bandito on next year's March Madness bracket.
Oh,
as two old school former superheroes, why not, right?
Why not? Let's do it.
What do you guys think about that? Let us know. Maybe we'll check it out next year. But either way, I know we've kept you guys super late again tonight. We never seem to be able to get out of here on time, but it's just too much fun to hang out with all you beautiful people. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We had a super big blast. We hope you keep rocking it out for spring break and have a super good time. Enjoy the beautiful weather, the beautiful family, and all of these beautiful shows and the unsung heroes of the Marvel and DC universe. You guys are fantastic. Thank you to all the actors, producers, and workers who work on these shows. Congratulations to all the female superheroes who celebrated on International Women's Day. You girls are kicking ass, and I absolutely love it. I always wanted to see more of you, so I'm glad too.
Very cool.
Yeah,
man.
It's been a great, fun night. Thank you guys so much. Senior Boyle, any final thoughts?
Man, like you said, man, just thank you guys so much for tuning in with us, man, and having fun and throwing down great comments, voting, and just, you know, all around just showing us so much love so that we can continue to show you guys love and, you know, for all these things that we love together. So it's just always a party here every Monday night at Charboil and El Bandito's Power Hour of Love. So till next time.
Yeah, you guys can catch us live every Monday night, and we typically have a big schedule that we can tell you guys what we're doing next week, and join us back for this exciting. But it's spring break. We're probably going to get super drunk and party and not do any work till next Monday. So join us next Monday for a surprise episode of some stuff that's probably going to be super cool, because this was a pretty big surprise, and it was super cool.
Great
but
time.
Until then, we'll see you.
Yeah.